Hey, Nick.
Hey.
I love it when we're cruising together.
Boo,
The last time I cruised with you, things left me walking a little funny.
Yeah, well, true.
Strap it on.
Emily likes to peg. Hey guys, it's your favorite final girl and boy, Emily and Nick, and your favorite final baby, Mike, coming at you with a new episode of Gag Me of the Night, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. Gag Me of the Night is continuing action slasher month. And this week we have our favorite final special guest, Brad, to help us take a smooth, lubed drive through 1980s cruising. Emily, lube up that box.
Okay. A cop goes undercover to ferret out a killer. It's a compelling police action storyline, one that holds the promise of risk and excitement. And when the cop is played by Al Pacino, we know it's a promise delivered. 5-time Academy Award nominee Pacino, who took on police corruption as undercover Detective Serpico, pussy, and investigates a murderous singles world in Sea of Love, plunges into an even stormier sea in cruising. He plays Steve Burns, a New York cop who infiltrates the lurid subculture of male S&M to trap a killer preying on homosexuals. William Friedkin, the Oscar-winning director of The French Connection, whose other credits include The Exorcist and To Live and Die in L.A., guides this thrilling, controversial murder mystery. Cruising may frighten you, disturb you. Above all, it will immerse you in a mystery. Because cruising doesn't answer. I'm sorry. It's too much. Because cruising doesn't answer all the questions it raises. It challenges you to bring your own insights and solutions to the dangerous puzzle. Steve Burns may be the key to the puzzle. He's both. I don't know. He's both the bait and the hunter in a leather netherworld. He's cruising for a killer, and just when you think he's found him, the real mystery begins. 1980. Brad, what are your thoughts about this 1980 action slasher crime thrillers mystery?
I fucking love it. This was my idea.
This is Brad's idea.
It's been cooking for a while.
Nick's.
Hey, no, give it to Brad, man.
Yeah. But no, I fucking love this movie.
He brought it to our attention first of why didn't you guys do it? Because technically it is a slasher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people getting stabbed up.
Yeah.
All the time. No, I like this movie a lot. One thing I did notice when I was watching it this time is you're not, except for Paul Sorvino, you're not getting really good performances out of some of like the best actors ever. Like
it's a hitter. It has some hits and it has some misses in it.
But yeah, it's like everyone's playing it kind of dead. But I like that in like a weird like suburbia type way. That it's like.
Well, yeah. I mean, Richard Gere was who freaking really wanted to play the role, and he will stand by that. But he still says now that, you know, he changed his mind about Pacino later and said he actually, because of all the controversy going on during it, like he was actually scared while filming. So, I mean, he did give a legitimate performance, I think. But I mean, yeah, it's good. But there's also some parts where you're just like, okay. I don't know.
Or you're like, okay.
Yeah, no, they're definitely some
All
okay.
right.
I think that it really, for me, it like the movie starts off really strong and it climbs to a peak pretty quickly, and then it kind of plateaus for a while, and then by the end you're getting a little bit like, okay.
Yeah, it's like an average night at a leather bar.
Yeah, I mean, it takes you through the entire
builds
night
up, plateaus, and then you're like, okay.
But you do learn about all the handkerchiefs, which I like learning about that.
I like it.
Mike, get us going.
All right, we got a cool title crawl. And for some reason, I always want to think it's a N apostrophe, cruising. It's cruising. Mm-hmm. And we see a ginger boat guy finding an arm in the water. And then we see cops examining said arm. And the nails look like they're claws. I guess maybe it's decomposed some. And the doctor wants to call it a murder, but the cops are like, no. Then we see Joe Spinell and his partner. And the streets are very heavily populated.
Gives a little backstory of himself, which is very true to what had happened to Joe Spinell in his love life. Like like the woman who left to go to Florida and all that. That's what his porn actress did to him. So
Ooh.
His porn actress wife.
So he was just telling the story. And
He was just basically, and the camera's rolling. He was like, let me tell you about how this bitch left me because she's a whore or something. I don't know.
There's a
They're
lot
like,
of
Joe,
anger
you can
there.
really talk that shit. You want to be in a movie?
Yeah.
So the streets seem really
What
heavily
movie is Joe
populated.
Spinell not in this time period?
Sure.
Honestly.
Yeah. For any New York film that's not it. Yeah. Like,
He's in there somewhere. You're like, oh, Joe Spinell's ugly ass is it? I forgot he was in
Hey.
Rocky.
well, it's wild. Yeah, I mean, like Paul Sorvino or whatever. We just did.
I love Paul
We just did a
Sorvino.
Larry Cohen film or whatever, and he's
There's a
in
lot of good
some
actors
those.
in this movie.
Paul Sorvino was in the second season of the original Law and
He's
Order.
in the stuff.
No, well, he was in this. He was he's the other main detective in the second season of Law and Order with Chris Noth, and he does a very good job. He wears Russian fur hats very well. Just saying.
Well, we see the cops picking up 2 trans types, right? Or
They're not well, I think they're just I think they're just
they're
cross-dressers.
Cross-dressing.
I think they're just cross-dressing.
Transvestites.
They're
It seems like
cross-dressing
they're
sex
hustlers, like
workers.
walk.
They're sex workers.
Walking the streets. And they're harassing the shit out of them. And they make them do a little oral. And then we shift from their car
Well, you can
to...
tell that's not the first time they've had to do it either. Like those they know those cops and they're like, fuck.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to do this again to get out. Like,
It's
Hope you like
Joe
bacon.
Spinell and that other guy getting a little dumb and dumber.
yeah, they had a whole like another subplot where they go on
Oh
pussy
man,
patrol
that's
and
hilarious.
shit.
That's what we're calling head from now.
So
on.
I thought this was Al
Give us some of that
Pacino
noggin.
strutting into the private club.
It's not though.
It's a
He's
different
not in
person.
the movie until like 20 minutes, 30 minutes into the movie. I don't think you see him until like 20 minutes into the movie.
Well, he struts right into a very leathery bar. And
Very leathery. Was that the name of the
very-
bar?
It was a real okay. Well,
I'd go to a bar
let's-
called Very Leathery.
It was a
Fuck
real.
You got cheap
These
drink
were all
specials.
filmed. All the clubs were actual real S&M bars that they filmed in.
everybody's getting wild with
That
some
were run by
funk.
the mob.
We see men in jock straps with their butts hanging out. There's a zipper face guy like in Pulp Fiction.
And like in the
a-
movie Zipper Face.
Yeah, it's like a bondage
a-
mask with a zipper mouth. And
I don't know what you saw. I just saw a bunch of fellas having a good time.
That's kind of what I saw too. It's just camaraderie.
I saw
Right.
camaraderie and love.
Yeah, unity.
one man asks another man for a lighter, and he's like, I hate cigarettes. And one of them says, I'm having ego problems and need to be worshipped. And yeah, adored. I thought that was a pretty good quote. Isn't that what we all need? Well, that's how you pick somebody up, damn it. Then they're
I
back
like
at the
being left to
hotel,
fuck alone.
and they're smoking some grass, and
I like it when they're just like, hey, want to fuck?
Yeah.
You just get down to business, okay? Let's say what we're doing. We're not.
they're getting
No
hard
lost.
looking at wrestling magazines.
Oh, I bet you love that.
Yeah, I saw Bob Backlund and Harley Race were both featured.
See?
But they're still wearing their boots.
Sure,
but
this
hop
is
in-
when Mike started jerking off, so
they
the
hop
notes are
in
going to be a
bed.
little
No, he
iffy.
started jerking up when he put the VHS in the fucking VCR.
He didn't watch it on VHS. He watched it on set.
I watched it on Max.
No, he was
Formerly known as
self-milking
HBO
before he
Max.
started the
Start
film.
jerking off at the cityscape.
Yeah.
The title screen came on and he
I've been
he
trying
pulled
to,
his dick out immediately.
I've been trying to not jerk off so much. I'm letting my power well up. I want my mojo.
Yeah, but last time you didn't do it for
What
a
are you
while-
letting it well
no,
up for,
last
Mike?
time he didn't. Who knows?
What's
But
your end goal
You don't
here?
have to
the
talk
last
about
time
this
he
at length.
he didn't jerk off for a while. He got so constipated he had to shit on a puppy pad. So
Well, now I have a squatty potty. Or as I like to call it, the stool
Yeah,
stool.
you might want to start jerking off because that's going to be your main form of
You're right.
mating
Yeah,
for a
that's-
long time.
yeah, that's also your Activia.
I have great poops now. Now I just need to have some sex.
Now what'd you say? Now you.
Now I just need to have some sex. That's what he said.
Well, yeah. Keep talking like you're talking. You're gonna have a lot of it. It's coming straight to
Hey,
you.
babe, do you mind if I eat that? You gonna finish that cum?
He's talking about his cum, I think.
You gonna finish that cum?
Gross.
I'm hungry. Daddy needs some milk.
Okay, you're
Give me
assuming,
that
You all
milk.
started this. Don't fucking.
you're
I'm just,
assuming that you're fucking someone or they're giving you a blowjob or something.
someday,
Are you going to eat the rest of that? That's only if
Someday
she's
he'll get a
swallowing.
blowjob.
It's like the pickle they took off their hamburger.
Oh, yeah, he's the one that taught us though how
Dude,
guys
if you
can
don't-
fake it. Or
If you don't get back to the movie, I'm gonna take your virginity.
Okay, so, are you threatening me?
No.
Somebody gets so
Speaking of cornhole,
the guys have sex with the boots on the bed, and
That makes it not gay.
one of them wakes up to
Saucer
the
boots.
other
Yeah.
rifling through their stuff, and he's like, "Aren't you scared?" And he's like, "Don't you have anything?" And he's like, "No, I don't have shit." And he puts his knife to his neck, and I think the guy still thinks it's gonna be some weird sex thing, but
it's not.
it's very creepy, and he gets flipped over and hogtied, and then stabbed like several times in the torso.
4 times.
Oh. And the doctors say that the next day there's cops and they're like, his anus is dilated, but there's no sperm in the semen. And I'm like, huh? There better be sperm in my
He
semen.
didn't know that you
Why
could be
else
shooting
would you
blanks.
eat it if
It's
there's no
called
sperm
shooting
in it?
blanks, Mike.
If there's no sperm in it, why
Because
would
you
you
like
eat
the
it?
taste of it. You've already said that.
The doctor just dipped his finger in.
You
It's
don't
like,
know.
There's no sperm in there.
Yeah, that's all he knows. That's all the doctor knows. He drinks your sperm.
This one's a little light on the
jizz.
sperm. Well, no, it's jizz, just no sperm.
The sperm count in this movie is very low.
Yeah, the sperm kill count.
So it seems like the same knife has been used in some previous killings. And
Specifically one killing. That's the only one referenced before the movie, which is John L. Richards.
and he's
And he
photo
died
ID'd
10 years before the events of the film. But
with head giving guy, and
Head giving guy.
he tries to tell
God,
his
is that what people
boss.
call me when
credits?
you get a blowjob from it? It's just like, oh yeah, the head giving girl. You know her.
There's a
Head-giving
head giving
guy.
girl up the street there if you want one.
Will you write the goddamn notes? It's the head giving guy. That's how I know him.
Okay.
That's how you know him.
That's how you know him.
He tries to tell his boss. Somebody tries to tell their boss something. The cop. And they're playing.
Someone tries to tell their boss something. It's a cop, I think.
There's some
What the fuck?
there's some computer chess and Al Pacino.
What? Why did you decide to write that down as a bullet point? There's computer chess.
Because computer chess is cool for 1980. When this movie was
Ben's
made.
probably out there playing on his phone right now.
Like
also cruising.
little kids used to like play computer chess. Now they just catch Pokemon.
No,
Oh
some people
God!
play chess
Listen
on.
to him.
They have an app for it.
Let him go. Let him dig his own.
So
his own
Al
grave.
Pacino gets called to the boss's office.
I don't think those people are listening to this show.
And
Not anymore.
They haven't been for a while.
The boss cop kind of lets him know what's up and what he wants him to do.
Boss cop, the captain.
Yeah, had a man.
Al Pacino's just like, I love it.
Smoke
Let's
your
do this shit.
pole.
And then he's in bed with his hot ass wife, Karen Allen, from Scrooge fame.
Oh, she wasn't in that yet, but yeah.
Yeah, no, this is
Future
This
Scrooge
is very,
Allen.
very pre-Scrooged.
It's before Indiana Jones
Yeah.
and Starman.
This is like one of the
and all
first,
kinds of
her
shit.
I
first
like that.
big
That was
roles.
the
Was she
first
in,
thing that Mike said
wasn't
of
she-
Karen Allen fame of
Scrooge,
Scrooge.
not
That's the heavy hitter.
Actually, I've never seen any.
Wasn't
Another
she in
I haven't seen the
Invasion of the
Indiana
Body
Jones movies,
Snatchers?
and if I have, they were when I was
Was she in
little.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland?
No.
No.
That's
She
a
looks a
different
little
lady.
bit like, she looks like the girl
Scrape
who
him
was
off,
in it.
Claire.
Okay.
Scrape him off.
Okay.
So we see him getting out of a taxi and goes to his new place and he finds some porn.
She looks like Barbara Hershey kind of to me, honestly.
And he's going through the prints of
Doesn't
what.
she? She was in Animal House.
Yes, she was in
She's
Yeah.
sorry, that's who I know her. That's where I know her from.
That's-
She's
and
she's
she's
Boone's
with Donald
girlfriend in
Sutherland.
Animal House.
She's with Donald Sutherland's.
Yes, you're right.
bare
She's in
ass.
in what? Is it Body Snatchers?
No, she's not in
is she
Invasion.
not in that?
Karen Allen is not in
you
Invasion
sure?
of the 78
I'm positive.
version.
I know she's Boone's girlfriend in Animal House, and she fucks Donald Sutherland in that movie.
The teacher with a
Yeah.
bear behind.
Anyway,
Not like a bear's tail, like bears. And
we know she was also in Manhattan and the Wanderers and Knots Landing for one episode, but not Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Go on.
Okay,
Go, Mike.
I'll go. So he's gonna burn these porns, but he's stopped by one of his housemates, and they go for coffee. It's Ted, and he's a gay playwright, and they have breakfast.
Oh, he's nice.
And his story is that he's
also
quit
the mom in the
school,
same
and
line.
now he's a an artiste. And
And
Ted's talking about all the killings.
he talks about how his roommate doesn't like that, or they get in fights about it because he's not making any money. He's like downgrading his like artistic ability.
Yeah.
It's a gay fight.
Oh,
They have a gay fight about
they
it.
have a gay fight.
Yeah, a lovers' quarrel.
So he goes
Spat.
to the leather club.
Well, that's what you do when you
And-
get.
Yeah, I just need some air.
Some
Thick, musty,
Don't tell me I
mustachioed,
can't do
leathered
art.
hair.
Well, he
If
goes,
you tell me I can't do art again, I swear to God, I'm gonna have to go to the leather club.
he sees all these bandanas and he goes into the store
art.
and we find out that if you're wearing a light blue one and it's on the left, you want a blowjob. If it's on the right, you want to give a blowjob. Green is if you're like selling sex for money. If it's
Yellow
on your
is water
left,
sports.
yeah, and then pissing is the yellow one. And he starts talking about the red, which I guess is probably pretty violent.
I mean, it's just butt sex, I think, Mike.
Just regular butt sex.
Yeah.
That can be pretty violent.
But
It
he
can
walks
be.
away.
There's blood involved.
We see him putting on some eyeliner.
I thought it was a little bit convoluted. Now I know I know this is all real, the handkerchiefs, but I don't know if I could keep it all. Like, I mean, I guess you know which one you are, so you just have that one handkerchief. You don't really have to
Are
keep
you
it
a
all.
yellow?
I do know 8 Joe Spinell movies, but I don't think I could work out this handkerchief system.
Well, I'm just glad I don't have to.
Well,
Usually
like
straight guys
someday.
are down for anything. So it's
someday
like,
you might need to know.
why would I ever need to know? I'm never going to be a gay man in the 80s.
Maybe you'll be into that kind of shit.
I think you just want to be peed on.
No, I've had that and I didn't like it.
It's not fun. It's not fun.
Back off.
It's not.
You better
It
climb
It seems
off the
like
back,
maybe it'll
Mike.
be hot.
It's worse when they want it too, and I'm like, and you just want to go to the bathroom. They're like, they're wanting to watch you, and you're like, I just want to fucking pee.
God.
Like, Jesus Christ, stop,
Well,
get out.
Al
You go get a
Pacino.
ladle and get it out of the toilet.
You know how much
I'm done.
harder this is already, just to pee right now. Can you just get out?
Let me get rid of it, and then you do whatever you want with it.
I'll leave it here.
Yeah, there, it's in that bowl over there.
He's putting on makeup so he can go to the Wolf's Den.
Who?
Al Pacino.
Oh, okay, Steve.
There's a killer team playing. It looks like some of these guys are kind of dressed up like Nazis.
No, they're
No,
like-
dressed up like Rob
they're
Halford.
dressed up like cops and stuff.
They dress like Rob Alfred.
And we do see Joe Spinell and his partner from earlier, who's also in a lot of stuff. I just don't know his name. And one of them's got the yellow on his head, so he must really like the
Dude,
pissing.
he's yelling to the
He gives
world,
Anders-
pee on me,
A little piss
There's a
halo.
or
guy-
I'll pee on you. I don't know.
There's a guy pumping iron, and
Iron is a guy named Iron.
Yeah.
Iron Johnson.
Yeah, he has
I
a
just
shirt.
read that as
Yeah, he's
debauchery.
pumping his dick into a guy that has a shirt that says Iron on it. My name is Iron. You're just pumping hard.
And then we see the
I don't know what I really imagined when I was giving you
thought we were gonna
to
do
this
this
fucking material. I don't know why
Us
I
two,
wasn't expecting
mainly
this.
not me.
Like, what the fuck was I thinking?
well, this is the first time we get to the gay
That's why
park.
Nick never pushed it too hard.
At the beginning of this, I want you to be like, we got your favorite final special guest.
Well, welcome to Eden, the gay park where everybody's fucking all the time.
Doesn't even care.
They're in the park, and he makes eye contact with Joe Spinell's character, but it doesn't lead to anything. And
No
the
shit.
the next morning, Paul Sorvino pulls him aside, and he's like,
Hey, you,
Tommy.
Hey, you.
he talks about
Gay.
Tommy the Joker,
Okay. Okay.
which doesn't mean shit. But then he's back in the park, and the killer's around because we know because of the voice, you know. And he leaves with the guy, and they go to park. There's lots of dudes. There's creepy singing. Who are you?
Do it.
Do it.
What is it?
Where are
I'm here, you're here.
you?
Yeah.
Where are you?
Yeah.
And he laughs and he
That's
runs
weird,
off.
yeah.
And the killer was stabbed, is what I wrote. The killer gets stabbed here, right? And then Al Pacino's fucking his wife. And he's hitting it hard from the back. And she's... they've got-
Is he pumping iron?
well,
Mike?
he's fucking her harder than normal because she's like, oh my goodness. And They've got a pretty nice place. And we see.
Great, awesome, yeah.
But he's fucking hard.
Then we see Ted
Nice
walking.
place.
Cool.
Nice decorum.
And there's a knifing in Central Park. Oh no! Then there's news headlines and it says homo killer. And Ted, that's the guy.
Yep. That's his name.
Goddamn Ted and Steve are at the cafe.
Yeah, they're friends. I think that I like their little friendship. I think it's cute.
He's just using him to get information.
I think he
That's what
no. I think it.
That's what
I think it
cops do.
starts off like that, but I
Pretend to
think
be
he
your
does
friend.
to. I think he
Put
does
the
genuinely start
squeeze on.
liking him, like as a friend.
So Bobby was angry, and Al's walking at night down some stairs. Oh, it's another club. And this is the cop theme club where people are like getting fucked
Jiggy
by
with it.
nightsticks.
I think they say it's called the 6th District or something like that.
There's,
Yeah, I think I have the names in
District 6
the
or something.
trivia.
there's some blowjobs, and somehow he gets kicked out, and he gets followed and hit on by somebody. And he's like, "Not tonight." And then we see him in bed with old Karen Allen again. There's a
this
terrified look.
This is one of my
While she's blowing him.
favorite fucking scenes in cinema. This is like I was talking
it's
about
powerful.
how it's not a lot of good performances. I love this scene.
Pacino or Karen?
Where
Oh, no, it is.
Karen Allen starts going down on Al Pacino.
He looks terrified.
And the music changes to the same music that's been pumping in these queer clubs that he's been going to, and he starts tearing up. And it's like,
And she
I see
doesn't
what's
really.
going on.
She doesn't
gay
know
now.
like what he's doing, and so.
She's like, "You've
Also,
never
in
been
real
harder,
life,
honey."
she wasn't given the script until like the last minute anyway. There was something. I'll go into this trivia.
Well, she's
so
in-
like she didn't
she's
know a
in the
lot.
fucking
of the
movie for like 3.5
But
minutes. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she
not in a
she
whole
actually
lot.
had a lot more that was cut, but yeah, she didn't know a lot of what was going on purpose. So
It's basically her getting railed
Yeah.
or something for a minute
not
and a half,
understanding why
her
sex
bringing
is
milk
changing
home,
every time.
and then like a point later.
yeah,
So, people are getting in cars. People are in cars. There's the dude in the club.
this is like the show about the cars and coffee that they do with David
And-
Letter. Is that Jerry
Jerry
Seinfeld?
Seinfeld.
It's like
I
the-
hate him.
the
He's
whole-
such an asshole.
Oh, come on.
Cruisers
He
and
is.
cars getting coffee.
And they don't. And he can't just say sorry that Larry David's a better writer because Curb Your Enthusiasm is better than Seinfeld.
All right.
See ya.
All right. Easy killer.
Well,
Well, you know what? Larry David wasn't a good
You're
stand-up
comparing
comedian.
the writing of Curb Your Enthusiasm is better than the writing in Seinfeld.
The acting. Well,
Where
Larry
Curb Your
David, they were the same
Enthusiasm
person.
is famously a show with no script.
It's but it's the same writer.
What?
That Larry David was a writer on Seinfeld.
Yeah,
so-
but I mean, it's like
The ideas
famously
are-
supposed to be like a 4-page script for like.
well, that's what he does on Curb too, though.
yeah, that's
So,
what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, except for Larry David wasn't as good at stand up, but I don't think Jerry Seinfeld's great at stand up. So whatever.
what's the deal?
What's the deal?
What's the deal with these
cruisers?
places?
What's the deal with these prices? Slashing prices.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you
The
slash your way
cheapest
back
food
to
in-
Back to the
Knoxville.
movie. Why slash back into the movie?
Okay, so there's a film booth, and they're holding hands. Oh, and there's the zipper head, and the shadow
What?
knife.
Hey, dude. This is
We said get back into the movie, but like explain.
Okay.
What?
So
zipper head. Come on now.
there's gonna be. They're going into the watch a porn movie, and you guess to fuck or whatever. They go in holding hands, and there's a guy with a zipper head mask, and you see in the shadow on the projection a knife in a hand, and then there's blood on the screen. Somebody got murdered, and then Al Pacino's
Is this
getting
the
out.
third murder or the second one?
There was. Why'd you ask me? I think it's
Sorry,
the third.
because
I think
the
it's
second.
4.
Well, the second person that gets killed is the guy that was the killer in the first. The first killer is
thought
the
this-
second guy that gets killed.
The second killing.
It is. No, it is.
I wrote down.
No, I'm 100%.
The killer
sure.
got stabbed. The
Yeah.
killer got stabbed.
Yeah, no, the
That was
killer in
second
the
one.
the first guy that kills the guy in the hotel is the second guy to get killed in the park.
But
Anyway.
this is only the third killing in the film booth, I think.
Okay.
With a shadow knife.
That's
Half
what I
these
thought.
dudes look like they were in the Dictator.
A lot of them look
They,
alike.
no, they
Fucking
decide
decipher
They
them?
look alike.
They
They
kinda
look
look
alike.
like Al Pacino.
Well, they look alike
It
on
looks like the
purpose.
cover to Blood Brothers. That
Yeah,
Dictator's
dude,
album.
the whole movie looks like the cover of Blood Brothers, dude. Like, I love that about it.
It looks like, I thought it was Blues Brothers.
No, the Dictator's album, the Blues Brothers, yeah.
The Blues
The
Brothers. doing
real
the
second
Dictator.
album, yeah.
Oh man.
So Al gets home and he overhears an argument and somebody's losing it. And he's like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And Dave the Chiefs, the chief tells him to wrap it up. We're out of funding. But then a cop is found.
Wrap it up or you might catch something.
Yeah, it's called Be a Little Bit Wiser, Baby. Put it on. A condom.
The cops found a fingerprint. And we're back at the club. There's a cool, like,
Where did they
American
find the
flag light
fingerprint,
bulbs.
Mike?
On the butthole.
Where did they find the fingerprint?
Yeah, on the butthole.
Okay. Are you
Where
sure
did they
about
find the fingerprint? I
I don't
can't
know. I have
remember.
no idea. On the condom, maybe?
It's like a Slick Rick sample.
Dude,
The
yeah,
butthole, the butthole.
They went the butthole.
I need to forget the butthole.
When I went to butthole.
No way to put a
All
subtle
that
when
matters
you
is
went the
that they
butthole.
found it, okay?
All right, whatever.
So there's a American flag in black and white bulbs that I thought looked kind of cool. And
You would.
we
love
at the
America.
club. There's some chain swinging. There's some greased hand manual anal action.
Damn, he's rapping.
AKA fisting.
AKA fisting.
Yeah.
And we hear that Skip Lee's a bad dude. But then
Nice.
Don't go fisting with him.
Don't go around Skip Lee with that fisting action.
Al Pacino gets out on the dance floor and he's
He's like,
freaking
oh, pow,
out.
pow, pow.
And there's a cool
So
effect
they
where it
fighting?
looks like he's on drugs or something because it's like wow, wow, wow.
Oh,
wow.
no, he just did a whip it.
Yeah.
He did poppers, probably, is what happened.
There's a
let's be
big
real.
group
Oh,
hug.
he smelled some smelling poppers. His maximum
yeah,
impact.
Wow, 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 wow.
There's a big group hug and it's real cute. And then Al Pacino is with a cop and they're talking about Skip. And there's some card tricks happening. And the cop pulls the blonde informant.
Love this.
And somebody's singing, "Who's here? We're here." Sing it.
It's I'm here, you're here,
who's
we're
here?
It's something like that, yeah.
We're here. And then the cops show up at the Iron Horse, and they get some nice steaks. And Skip is the busboy at this place. That's why they're there. And there's some kind of knife analysis happening. And Paul Sorvino's showing him the knife. And Al Pacino takes it, and he's with Skip at the motel. You can tell it's under surveillance. And there's trouble with the surveillance equipment. Oh no, we're going in. And there's a whole ass fucking Vice Squad knocking at the door. He's in a towel. Al's all tied up, hog-tied, like we'd seen some people that died get hog-tied before.
Yeah, but I mean... it's
And we
also a
skip
thing
straight
they
to the
do.
questioning. And the
Okay,
guy's like,
that's
he
a-
cruised me.
That's a real thing, too. The
He
black
cursed
black
me.
guy that's in there, too, like, that's
Oops.
in S&M gear, that is a real tactic that they used to use. And I think that guy was... I'll go into with the trivia.
Am I going too fast?
No, you're going too slow.
Oh, okay. Well, questioning, he cruised me.
Operation Mike Speed.
Yeah, this big black fella in a jockstrap slaps the shit out of the suspect.
And that's whenever I started jerking off in the movie.
They separated them, and he throws the guy's. He takes the guy's hat and throws it out the window, and then
Take that.
Skip cracks, and the slapper slaps Skip again, and they give out knives at his work. We find out like everybody that works with Skip is given knives, and he's like, one of the cops is like, take your pants off. What?
It's real fucked up.
And he's like, we need a sperm sample, floating nuts. And floating nuts. Floating nuts. And the prints don't match. That's not him. It's not Skip.
We know that.
And
It says
Steve's
it.
like,
It's
I'm going
not
to go
him.
see Nancy, my wife. And there's weird tension
You
between
should.
them.
She's worried about you.
And he's like, I'm going to cut loose for a while. But he goes and meets his boss, Sorvino. They're on an escalator. And he's like, I can't fucking do this.
He does that trick
I
where
need
he
to
tries
quit.
to run up an escalator that's going down, and it's really just a slapstick comedy.
I've done that a few times.
Then he's at FAO Schwartz dancing on the fucking keys. Like,
Yeah, then it's not a real staircase. He's just like walking down it very.
Then a child gets shredded by the staircase. What movie did we watch?
That happened in that
Terror
happened in
Firmer?
Terror
Firmer,
Firmer.
yeah.
And also
Terror
Rescue
Firmer.
911.
That's a great scene.
Rescue 911 has an episode where a kid's jacket got caught in an escalator and
like
he almost
Mallrats.
died because they couldn't. He was like choking. Anyway, it was scary for me. Anyway,
there's weird tension. He's cutting loose. Oh yeah, he wants to quit. And Serena's like, you ain't fucking quitting. There's not gonna be anybody else that I can get to do this.
Dude, okay, so whenever this is my favorite scene because this kind of mimics Serpico. In Serpico, you know, it's like about police corruption and all that shit. And he's like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm out.
I can't take it
and this
anymore.
one, he's like, hey man, yeah, like, yeah, I'm having a real hard time with this. You know, and it's like, nah, you're the only guy in the force I can get to go date a dude.
he doesn't even. He's like, okay.
Yeah, he like stumbles it, but it's like kind of the same.
Over that scene. That's
fucking
one
my
of the
wife like
best
never
scenes. Is
before.
Paul Sorvino just sitting this cadet down? Is what we're assuming he's a fucking cadet or something.
Yeah,
he's
he's
wearing
new.
a uniform with the fucking Barney Fife badge.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a
and
brand
shit,
new
yeah.
cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, have you ever had a man smoke your pole? You ever sucked a man's cock? Like, and it's
Yeah.
like, and Al
Want to give
Pacino's
it a
like,
try?
you're kidding.
Yeah.
And then Paul Sorvino just goes, no.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
It was like, it's such a good quote. I don't know. It's a good scene. Paul Sorvino kills it like he always fucking kills it.
Yeah, he always does.
But my point earlier was like, there are really good fucking actors in this movie that are. That almost
They're
you can
they're
see
underutilized.
how they don't give a fuck in their eyes or something.
Well, I also think they're underutilized in the movie.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Wanted to kind of address that Sorvino Pacino scene from earlier.
All right, he apologized. Mike?
So Sorvino hands him some photos from his school, and he's like, "Look at these photos, see if you recognize anybody." And Al Pacino does it, and he does recognize this dude, Stuart Simmons. And he gets the address, and Stuart starts running from him, and then he's pumping iron while another guy's watching.
We know what that means.
Iron's there?
Iron's
Iron's there again.
Jeremy's there?
Dude, cigarettes are only 50 cents.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't call me Stevie."
That's the part where Mike started jerking off.
Yeah, I know.
Cigarette
50 cent cigarettes. Oh, shit, baby.
You can get Lucy's
Like
are
jerk
half
off.
that
Shit,
though.
man. I came when I was
Lucy's are up to
pulling it out of my
50
pants.
That's good shit.
I bet that's the cost of
I
Lucy's
smoke
now.
Pall Malls.
Spent
Some call 'em
$6 on
Pall
3
Malls.
loose cigarettes.
So, he's like, "Don't call me Stevie." And then Al's watching him, and there's a fade shot that's real cool, and there's a montage, and he shows up at the land of Eden, the park where all the gay guys hang out, and he's cruising, and he's got the light blue in his right pocket, you know, and he's back
That
to
means
watch.
he gives head.
He's watching. He's just watching.
I think I got it.
Wait.
Right,
No,
right.
right's
Left
get-
pockets you receive, right as you
yeah,
give.
maybe you're right. He wants to suck some dick, and there's
And
a-
he's looking for it.
But you forgot today's opposite day.
So he decides, I'm just gonna break into Stuart's place, and he breaks his fan. That son of a bitch. Only an asshole would break somebody's fan.
That's true.
That's holy property. And there's a cool Jesus sketch.
Stop jerking off with the
And
fan scene.
It doesn't. It struck me as a not killery apartment.
Okay. Okay.
He's snooping around, and he finds some leather, Nazi-looking bullshit, and he finds some files, and there's letters to this guy, John Roberts. It's his dad, written to his dad, and he's watching him on the bus. He's like really, like tailing this dude.
Well, that's his job,
Tailing him.
Mike. So
Did you guys hear that the fucking
Yeah,
flea
go
market
to the
caught
leather
on
bar
fire?
and tail it, dude.
Dude, Green Acres is
The place to
Ash.
be.
No, Green Acres is Ash.
Farm
Wait, what are you talking about?
Well, I have no idea.
This sounds
Green
like
Acres
a
flea
off-air
market.
conversation.
This sounds like
Okay, oh, you know, he's giving
Green Acres
locations
sounds
again.
like,
Yeah.
Flea
This
market
sounds like word
burnt
salad to
ground.
me.
It also just sounds like something that's. I
So-
don't think Al
Matter.
Pacino was there. So what's up?
Al Pacino's
What's
back
up?
at home. He's playing the piano, and he sees. No, it's not Al Pacino. It is Stewart is back home. He's
a creep.
fingering
Actually,
the.
wait. Let's talk about how the fuck you gonna burn down a metal building.
That's true.
Okay, now let's continue.
Okay, he's fingering the piano. He sees that the fan's
Fingering
broken,
again.
and he sees Al Pacino, and he sees the letters have
And the
been
one
fucked
time
up.
they actually finger someone, he says finger banging.
And there's an audio flashback, and it's him talking to his dad on a park bench, and then it's hogtied, and there's another black and white flashback, and Stewart has a knife. We figure that out. Al knocks on Ted's door, and there's a conversation with his roommate. So is that? I didn't realize that Ted was Stewart's roommate.
Okay,
Until
well
here.
now, they're okay.
But Al breaks in to beat the shit out of him, and Stewart pulls a knife. Al's like, okay. And he goes and takes a bus to the gay park, and he's watching Stewart there, and the lights go out. They go out and chase to a different park. I don't know. There's lots of parks.
I think it's the same park. It's just a different area of the park.
But he sits on the bench, and Al sits on the other side, and asks if he's got a light. And they're flipping their butts, and the cigarette butts.
We got it. Thank you.
Wait, and then he puts
I was
on.
wondering.
He takes Stewart's hat and puts it on.
They're taking turns.
And it's like, let's
licking
go.
each other's butts.
Let's go fuck in this tunnel. And they start to undress. And he's like, hips or lips. And then there's a knife fight. And Al strikes first. And Stewart is in the hospital. And we find out about Al being a cop. Stewart didn't know.
You mean Steve?
Steve is the cop.
I know, but
Stewart found out that Steve was
you
a
keep
cop.
calling him Al.
Oh.
Like you know Al Pacino.
So Stewart says that Al attacked him, and that
Okay, Peg.
he had never killed him. Stewart's like, I never killed anybody. And Steve, we see him getting a promotion to detective, and then we see cops. And earlier there's something said about people pretending to be cops, like it's Maniac Cop or something.
That's because in the leather bar they have like cop nights.
Well, anyway, we see two people.
That's why, though.
We see two people that look like cops, and they're at Ted's, like, looking around. And this is where Al Bundy was. Ed O'Neill's in this movie. Al Bundy. Ed O'Neill's in this movie for a
Oh, yeah,
split
he
second.
is in this movie.
Oh, shit.
I think he's a fake cop.
You're
because
right. It's the first movie he's ever in.
It couldn't be Stewart.
You're right.
There are two guys. One of them is Ed O'Neill with Ted, the kind of guy that's got, like, a white boy fro. That is Stewart's roommate. And the next thing we know, he's dead. They find some letters, and there's craziness going on in the neighborhood, and we see Paul Sorvino with Joe Spinell, and he kind of recognizes his name from him being complained about by one of the informants that he kept making give him head, right? Mm-hmm. So we see that Ted is way dead, and we see, like, he's really fucking dead.
Yeah, Ted's gotten the worst of it out of anyone we've seen. Pretty much.
But then we see
a lot of
Al
stab wounds on
Pacino
that
walking away, and Karen's walking, and he gets home, and we see Al Pacino shaving, and he's back, and he ends up nicking himself. She puts on a record, and she finds some S&M gear and puts it on, and it's real hot. And he breaks the wall. Al Pacino breaks the wall, and he's just staring.
Don't you open your mouth, Emily.
Staring into the camera.
Hot.
It's hot.
didn't.
It's hot.
It weirds him out. He's
And then
conflicted though about
there are
it.
boats in the morning, and I imagine they're going to find another body part.
Oh,
But
no,
I
because I
imagine
don't
that.
think he ever sees her in the S&M gear, right? It ends with
thought
him
he-
staring in the mirror.
Yeah, you're
He's
right,
staring in
because
he's
it's
staring.
questionable,
Oh,
yeah.
he's staring in the mirror. I thought he was staring directly in the camera.
He's staring in the
Staring
mirror.
in the mirror, kind of.
He's
Yeah.
wondering things about
He's forever
himself.
changed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I've got a lot of trivia about.
But
Gag
no,
Me.
doesn't it also end too with like the
don't
scene?
know
It's like
who's
a
killing who.
reshot of like the
I know I'm
first scene
gonna
of
go
like a leather dude that looks vaguely like the killer from behind walking into the club after the scene of him in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like
No, the last scene is him.
So it's like, but it's either right before that or whatever. But it gives you the thing of like maybe the killer wasn't caught or whatever.
Well, the killer definitely wasn't caught because Ted's dead
Also,
and that guy's in the hospital.
Yeah. I'll go into all that. Okay, so the kill count's kind of weird in this movie because you'll see why. Okay.
So fucking weird.
Because all the sperm.
It's got a little sugar in its
that's
tank.
There's
one
lots of
is
butts.
Lauren
Lots of
Lucas.
butox.
Lauren Lucas, who's stabbed multiple times in the back by Eric Rossman. 2 is Paul Vincent, stabbed multiple times in the back by an unknown killer, that's just mentioned. Then 3 is Tim Lowe, who's stabbed multiple times in the back by an unknown killer, mentioned. Okay, I don't know if these are all the same person or if they're different people because they don't really say.
Yeah, that's what's kind of cool.
So it's
about
either
this
4,
movie.
5, 6, and 7, or it means it's 4, 5, and 6, or just 4. An unknown leg, torso, and arm found floating in the Hudson River. They don't say that it's the same guy, but they also don't say it's not the same guy. So, so number 7 or 5 is Eric Rossman, who's stabbed multiple times in the back by an unknown killer. 8 or 6 is Martino Perry, who's stabbed multiple times in the back by Stewart. 9 or 7 is Ted Bailey. He's stabbed multiple times by either Gregory Milanese or Steve Burns. That one could be Al Pacino. 10 or part of 4 is unknown male body part found floating in the Hudson River at the end. Okay. The budget was $11 million. With inflation, today it would be around $40.4 million. It grossed $19.8 million. With inflation, that's about $73 million. So it made a 44% profit. 2 of the notorious gay bars featured in the film, Mine Shaft and Eagle's Nest, eventually barred William Friedkin.
Mine Shaft is the shit, dude.
That's
awesome.
They eventually barred William Friedkin. For research, William
Get the
Friedkin.
fuck out of here, Normie.
For research, William Friedkin worked with members of the mafia, which owned most of New York City's gay bars at the time. He also did some of his research for the film by attending gay bars dressed in only a jockstrap. The club would have theme nights where patrons had to
Hello,
dress.
fellow kids.
What's up,
Yeah,
Bill?
he did it for months. So the clubs would have theme nights where patrons had to dress like cops, wear only jockstraps, or even go completely nude. Mark Kermode asked William Friedkin if he ever visited the clubs on these nights, and Friedkin replied, yes, and I was the ugliest guy in the room. Nobody ever hit on me. The early club scene was filmed at the Mine Shaft, a members-only club for the purpose of extreme S&M. All the extras are the club's actual members. The man who owned the club was the head of the Gambino crime family and another of Friedkin's friends. And Friedkin said, I used to go to his house and have breakfast with him in his kitchen. He said that they could film there as long as the movie wasn't about his business. On first viewing of the film, Richard Hefner, head of the ratings board, said there aren't enough X's in the alphabet to rate this movie. Also, there's only one X in the alphabet, but okay.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
That doesn't make
enough of them.
Karen, yeah.
In my old age, Roger Ebert bitching about movies has turned into something I really like.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
They both do it really
because
bad, but
he gets real fucking high and mighty
Oh,
for
he
a
gets-
guy who wrote Beyond Valley of the Dolls.
yeah. And also,
exactly.
like, just with slasher, but whatever. Karen Allen was never shown a complete script before she worked on this film. Director William Friedkin deliberately kept her in the dark since her character wasn't supposed to be aware of what was happening to Al Pacino's character as he explored the gay underworld. Most of Karen Allen's performance ended up on the cutting room floor, however. Richard Gere was William Friedkin's first choice for the lead and was even signed for the lead role and was very excited for the project. And Friedkin said, I think he would have been wonderful because he had a strange, ambiguous quality about him. Pacino got a hold of the script and decided he wanted the role, and as one of the biggest and most acclaimed actors at that time for Serpico, Godfather 2, Dog Day Afternoon, it was decided that he would be the better bet.
He's like, you don't understand, Billy. I need this.
The ongoing protest.
I'm so goddamn
but
successful.
He
I
does a
need
really
this.
good job as, like, you know, in Dog Day Afternoon with that kind of role. But anyway,
I love Sidney Lumet films. I love Serpico and Dog Day.
I don't like Serpico because he's a little bitch in the whole movie. But
come
anyway,
on, man. He's like-
the ongoing protests from the gay community about the making of the film caused Al Pacino to become extremely uncomfortable with the role during filming. Friedkin stated he had never frequented that world, and it freaked him out throughout the whole film. If there's a note that appears to be fear in his performance, it was there for real. They agree that Pacino's fear actually benefits the character, but Friedkin makes it very clear that he still wishes he had gone with
He had
fear.
already done Panic in Needle Park, and he was scared of this shit.
Listen, for a long time, Pacino wouldn't talk about the film, and Friedkin said that's a good thing because he's not very eloquent. However,
Don't understand. I'm out there and I've got a great ass.
However, Friedkin still wished he had gone with Richard Gere for the lead, but he came to appreciate Pacino's performance in the film. He said, I think that Pacino's performance works now. I didn't at the time, but I can see that there are aspects of it now that do work, which I didn't realize when we were shooting. I thought I'd made a mistake. The scene where Pacino's character confronts his neighbor's roommate and kicks in the door is quote, the only scene where I let Pacino cut loose and do a Pacino, says Friedkin. In addition to protests that occurred when the film was released, the production itself was plagued by demonstrations protesting it. Protesters would clog streets, make lots of noise in order to ruin live recorded sound, and even climb up on the rooftops and shine lights with reflectors down on the set to disrupt the lighting and distract the crew. Angered over reports of the film's negative portrayal of gay life that leaked out during shooting, activists distributed hundreds of whistles to members of New York City's gay community and encouraged them to spoil exterior filming on city streets by blowing them loudly whenever they spotted a crew from the film shooting on location, a tactic that cost the studio a considerable amount of money that had to be spent on lost production time and post-dubbing. The actor portraying the killer in the first murder also portrays the second victim murdered in the park. And okay, this is where it's like the true story part. Okay, in 1977 and 78, the gay community in New York City was terrorized by a series of quote-unquote bag murders. 6 male victims were murdered, mutilated, and dismembered, their remains wrapped in black plastic bags and dumped into the Hudson River. Some of the grisly fragments washed up on the New Jersey shore, obviously. Some others came to ground near the World Trade Center, clearly. Police traced items or recovered clothing to a shop in Greenwich Village catering to gays, and distinctive tattoos identified one of the victims as a well-known member of the gay community. Because several of the cases involved unidentified persons and there was no confirmed cause of death, the crimes were not officially classified as homicides, but were listed as CUPPIs, circumstances undetermined pending police investigation. One of the cases was solved due to evidence collected in an unrelated case. On September 14th, 1977, film critic Addison Verrill was beaten and stabbed to death in his New York apartment. Charged with the slaying, Paul Bateson, a 38-year-old X-ray technician, confessed to meeting Verrill in a Greenwich gay bar, and after having sex, Bateson admitted to crushing the victim's skull with a metal skillet after stabbing Verrill in the heart. Convicted of the homicide on March 5th, 1979, he was sentenced to a term of 20 years to life in prison. While in custody awaiting trial, Bateson bragged of killing other men for fun, dismembering their bodies, and dropping the bagged remains in the Hudson River. This case inspired the novel upon which this film is based. Detectives were satisfied that Bateson actually was the serial killer that they had been looking for, but lack of solid evidence resulted in his not being ever charged for those murders. So, it's also a capsule of the bygone era where first reports of AIDS-related illnesses were reported. In 1970, so here is the tie-in with William Friedkin. In 1972, director William Friedkin, who had become very prominent after The French Connection, was shooting The Exorcist in downtown New York. For a scene requiring mock brain scans of the possessed lead character, he shot a real-life radiologist and his assistant, Paul Bateson. In 1979, Friedkin was planning an adaptation of Gerald Walker's novel Cruising, which was inspired by a real-life serial killer who targeted leather boys in the city's underground gay bars, and then later dumped their dismembered body parts in the river. When Friedkin learned that his exorcist radiologist assistant Bateson was awaiting trial for the post-coital slaying of gay film critic Addison Verrill, Friedkin decided to visit him for research into the psyche of his cruising killer. Bateson was later sentenced to life in prison for Verrill, but not before dropping hints while in custody that he was also the body bag killer. Those cases remain unsolved. There's a good chance that Friedkin had not only inadvertently consulted the actual killer responsible for the murders of the subject of both the novel and the film it was based on, but that he had also cast him in a film he had made years before.
That's wild.
Some of the parts were found in body bags belonging to NYU's Medical Center Neuropsychological Division, which is where he filmed a scene for The Exorcist. Bateson admitted committing the first murder but having no recollection of the rest. Friedkin spoke with a man who survived an attempted murder by a alleged serial killer at the time, and he mentioned the assailant's little sing-song couplet, "Who's here? I'm here. You're here." So he made note of it, included it in the film. One of Friedkin's friends on the police force, Detective Randy Jurgensen, has a role here as the lead detective and was the real inspiration for Pacino's character. He's the cop who went undercover, tried to catch the real killer, and told Friedkin that the work made him question his own sexuality. The 6'5" African-American man wearing a jockstrap and a cowboy hat is played by the real cop who really used to do this during certain interrogations. They did that in part so the perp would lose credibility when trying to complain about the detective's behavior. It was very extracurricular, said William Friedkin. Yeah.
It's like Scared Straight for adults.
Yeah. The morgue scene was the first time a feature film was given permission to shoot in an actual morgue. The city's chief medical examiner, Michael Baden, was fired for that decision, but he went on to a lucrative career as an expert forensic witness. Brian De Palma really wanted to direct this film, but his producers could not obtain the rights to the material, so he made Dress to Kill instead. Friedkin sent the film to the MPAA with 40 extra minutes of footage that he had no intention of keeping, and which amounted to pure male pornography. It was a bait and switch to give the MPAA.
Like, I just want to shoot that shit.
It was a bait and switch to give the MPAA something to demand he cut, with the hope that they'd leave him the rest. But he still had to go back 50 times to secure an R rating.
God damn.
During a murder scene in a room at St. James Hotel where a man is stabbed to death on a bed, director William Friedkin edited in several near subliminal frames from a gay hardcore movie that can clearly be seen in slow-mo if you watch the DVD. This movie is still banned in Finland, Iran, and South America. Or South Africa, sorry. South America.
That's not a country. That's a continent.
In an effort to make the scenes of gay leather bars as real as possible, actual leather bars in New York City that catered to gay men are reused. The locations are in Manhattan's Lower West Side neighborhoods in the Meatpacking District, most of which remain open to this day. The extras, full black leather and chaps, among other provocative sexual attire, were actual patrons of the bar, recruited for the scenes a few days before filming. They were instructed to act as they normally would act in gay bars, but to tone down sexually oriented activities because of the likelihood these acts would give the film an X rating. James A. Contner, he's the cinematographer, originally wanted to shoot the film in black and white as he felt it would fit the look of the S&M world, which I think would have been cool. Joe Spinell made this movie before Maniac, playing a brutal, closeted police officer in the early scenes. His character mentions his wife leaving him and moving to Florida with their young daughter to live with his wife's sister. In real life, Spinell's wife, porn star Jean Jennings, divorced him several weeks before the film and moved to Florida. Quote, every incident in this film happened, says Friedkin, regarding the various interactions we see between cops and potential perps. The cops patrolling this area at the time were known as the Pussy Posse. The LA punk band...
DiCaprio in this? Like, isn't that what he calls this shit?
Yeah, it is.
Like Toby and DiCaprio and shit?
Yeah, well, that's what they call themselves, but it's a different thing.
Sean Astin in that?
No.
Okay, good. Can you imagine Sean Astin?
Too short to be... Too short.
But ironically, Giovanni Ribisi is.
No, I can see him.
The LA punk band The Germs recorded five or so songs expressly for the soundtrack to this movie, although only lion's share was actually used. During the recording sessions, director William Friedkin was so energized by the Germs playing that he took to doing the pogo dance around the engineer's booth.
Mm-hmm. Dude, they should have used Manimal for the fucking for this movie.
Robert De Niro and Roy Schneider both turned down the role of Steve Burns. Steven Spielberg was originally going to direct this movie, but ended up making Jaws instead. But that was like 5 years before, so I don't really know. Whatever.
Spielberg would have made Cruising About Family, which would have been the weirdest fucking movie ever.
Friedkin made no claim or suggestion that Pacino's character is a killer, but allows the possibility that he may be.
Oh, he totally is.
This guy asked him how he...
I never even thought of that aspect, but like, I knew it was open-ended.
I've always taken that.
He was asked, he was asked how he directed Pacino for the final scene, seeing as he didn't tell him to play it like a killer, and he says he only told Pacino the following: you're happy to be home, you're happy it's all over, and you're shaving, and then at a certain point, I want you to look in the mirror at the camera. He adds that, I don't know what the hell it means, and that's what the audience is supposed to figure out. The film uses different actors as the killer at various times and shares a voice between them. because, quote, it's not an attempt to confuse about who the killer is, but to underline the fact that there were multiple murderers. The body of Ted Bailey, Don Scardino, is shown in a position modeled on the cover of David Bowie's album Lodger. And, quote, it's also an interesting position to find a dead body in. That's what William Friedkin said. So,
Okay.
that is my trivia. Sorry I had so much.
Okay, I do have to throw something in there. So we talked about trying to get his freak on.
Trying to get his freak on.
Yeah,
Freaky
Get your freak on.
these bars. So I was looking up pictures of him, and like for a while I was like, oh man, he looks like this kind of like handsome Donald Fagen type. Like I
Who's
I'm
Donald
totally
Fagen?
Donald Fagen's in Silly Dan.
But it was like, yeah, freaking can get it. And then I saw like a picture.
He can get it.
But then I saw a picture
Pride Month.
from like around
It's
the
not Pride
time
Month,
that
but
this
Oh,
movie
yeah.
was made, and he kind of looks like Mark David Chapman.
Yeah,
I was
that's the freaking I'm familiar with.
Also,
He can't get
that's the
it.
one that you
And
tried
now
to...
I'm seeing this picture
kinda
around
Jim
the Guardian,
Jones
which is
kinda shit.
1990.
By the way, correcting you in an
kinda
earlier
get it again.
episode,
Hey man, I've
Mark
had some
David
bad
Chapman's the
years
one that
too.
read Catcher in the Rye,
It's a
not
roller
Hinckley.
coaster. Life
Just
is a
FYI.
highway.
Oh, well, I
Connery?
yeah,
Yeah, Hinckley was doing that for Jodie Foster.
Yeah, I know, but in an earlier episode, he said...
I must have misspoke. No, I know that I'm too much
These
of a Beatles
actors
fan
are all
not to
in
know
so
that shit.
much.
So...
And too much of a J.D. Salinger hater, so yeah, fuck it.
Richard Cox, who was in this, was also in Hellhole with Robert Zadar.
It's important to know.
Robert Zadar.
That's what the working title for this movie was get in my hellhole, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brad, what do you rate this movie
Out of
5?
Out of 5. I do really like this movie a lot, and I think it does. It doesn't. Anytime it gets boring, it doesn't stay boring for long. I feel like.
You're right on that, yeah.
Like I think something does happen like every 5-10 minutes. I will say that fucking scene that I was talking about earlier is
Which
seriously
one?
The where Karen Allen starts going down on him, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
sound like drowns out into the like queer club music, and he starts like tearing up. It's like I don't know. It's
I mean,
such a
Friedkin's
good
a
like.
great director.
I know, and actually, I don't think a lot of that shows in this fucking movie.
It
like this
doesn't.
movie is a stinker for the
For
people
Friedkin.
that are
For
involved with it.
Friedkin and the actors, it really is.
I think it is, but I
It's
do
good.
think it's a really good like cult movie.
If it
Or,
was
like,
anyone else that directed it, well, besides like obviously besides like Francis Ford Coppola or like Martin Scorsese, besides the biggies, I would be like, this movie's fucking amazing. But knowing Friedkin and the other work that he's done, it's like I don't.
That's the thing.
It's a misstep for him.
It's really well. I mean, because big time motherfuckers aren't supposed to direct movies like this at a certain point, you know?
Yeah, but I mean,
And-
he was he was so into wanting to do this movie.
Yeah, I guess because he was running around a fucking jockstrap for 3
For
months.
months, yeah.
Like, I guess he was into it, but I'm gonna give it a fucking 4 because I do like it a lot. I probably hadn't seen it in like 10 years until I watched it the other day, and
Yeah, I
I was
haven't
like,
seen it in a while.
I like this fucking movie.
Until I watched it again recently. What do you give it, Nick?
I give it a 4 as well. I own this movie on VHS. I love this fucking movie. It's not my favorite freaking movie. That one is To Live and Die in L.A.
Mine is The Exorcist.
no.
To be basic about it.
To Live and Die in L.A. is your favorite.
Dude, the car chase in that is, and I like the French
Connection's
Connection,
great,
but the
too.
car
French Connection is
the
amazing.
car chase in To Live and Die in L.A. is the best car
Both
chase I've ever
great.
seen in any movie. Like, and that shit's like fucking
Exorcist
awesome.
stuff,
No, I like that movie a lot. It's a fucking badass movie.
I give it a 3.75. That's high for me.
I'm going 3.75 as well.
I think there
enjoyed
are
it.
definite missteps in it. I think there's underutilization of.
It wasn't clear to
of
me
some
that there were
actors.
multiple killers, like, until...
Well,
Like, I
you're
had to
never. But you're
rethink about
never.
the movie, but I'm
Everything is very ambiguous about that. That's the point.
I'm done.
So, and I don't think you like that because you like things to be told to you. So,
Thank you for telling me
you're
that.
welcome.
My favorite freaking movie is Blue Chips.
With Shaq?
It's
Fucking
good.
directed
With Shaq
Blue
and
Chips.
Nick
Yeah, no,
Nolte?
we did.
Yes,
Yeah.
is that not
No
the
shit.
weirdest shit you've ever heard?
I had no
Blue
idea.
Chips is good.
Shaq
I
is
like
in it,
Blue
yeah.
Chips, but
Nick Nolte, baby. Shark face.
so stay gagged on handkerchiefs.
Stay gagged on zipper face.
Stay gagged on blue chips.
Stay gagged on Nick Nolte.
I want some fish and
No,
chips.
don't do that, dude.
Some Atlantic
Stay gagged
cod.
on. I'll say this
the
for.
Nick's gone bad.
Stay gagged for on
take me to
Brad
the
if you're Mike.
Really?
No.
No, absolutely not. I wasn't giving consent for you to do that. I was just saying you would want to.
Did you guys rate it?
Yeah, I give it a 3.75 soda tea.
Oh,
375.
low.
It's not for me. That's pretty high for me.
Yeah. Let's move your rules.
Stay gagged on all of our
It
social
was
media.
so serious.
Instagram, TikTok, Gag Me with a Knife podcast, Twitter,
Hi,
Gag
Katie.
Knife Pod. Hi, Katie. Sorry, we talked about a lot of butt stuff and didn't talk about you. Butt stuff, Katie, butt stuff.
Vaseline
butt
on
sex.
that hand. Stick it up.
What? What's
Stick it
that?
up.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Stick it up that butt.
Okay.
Vaseline hands. Like
Become
in the
a
club.
Patreon for member shout outs.
Vaseline hands?
From he doesn't even know what lube is. He's used Vaseline for fucking
you
lube.
better back
Anyway, okay.
I do it like a
He fucks away
grandpa
that
would have done
The
it.
water hasn't touched this man's penis.
I jacked dry, man.
Gross.
I jacked
Gross.
dry.
We had a conversation about that, about like, and it being
Jack
like
and dry?
horrible. Like it was like a joke conversation we had about Jack. I cannot believe you brought that
I
up.
jacked dry.
Go tell him. You should go tell him that because we had a whole conversation
Does he
about
use
that's
like
disgusting.
lotion? And
Yes,
tissues?
idiot. Anyway,
Well, you boys jacked dry?
What?
no one
said I
jacks dry,
jacked dry.
dude. No one does that, bro.
Do you spit?
Dude, all right. Hey, guys.
Okay, become a Patreon for member shout-outs.
Jack and dry.
Can you not right now for
motherfucker.
member shout-outs, fan-requested
Rapping.
episodes, bonus exclusive episodes?
Yeah, donate for that.
Yeah, and maybe to
Yeah,
get
my
him some
answer will
mental
come in a
health.
future episode.
All right, early access to
Patreon
episodes
only, right?
at www.patreon.com/gagmewithaknifepodcast and buy
not
our merch at
Patreon only?
gagmewithaknifepodcast.com. There's no come on it. So we'll see you next time for
Mom,
more
don't
action
listen. Mom, don't
slasher.
listen.
Try the new podcast.
Thanks, Brad.
I did not say I jacked dry.
No one
I
does.
said,
No one
does Brad Jack
I
try the new
jacked
podcast?
No one does except you. That's so bizarre. Bye.
Six
You see